Hi, Gary Smith from Snap Judgment Photography, the home of photographic judges training. I've been away a bit on judging assignments and running quite a number of tutorials for camera clubs. So I have not made a video in some short period of time. But since I've got back, I've been able to catch up on my reading, and I came across two articles that I thought would be worth discussing on this channel. The two are from Peter Eastways from Better Photography magazine and Alex Kilby from The Photographic Eye. Links to both gentlemen are in the description below. So what were these items? Peter was talking about encouraging photographers to enter national and international competitions because he said that will help improve their photography. And I agree. Alex, on the other hand, was talking about photographers not photographing by the rules, but by their gut instinct. In other words, subjectively. And again, I agree. Let's take Peter's idea. With national or international competitions, photographers will get some feedback, either an acceptance or a rejection, or maybe, luckily, an award. And they may get the scores that the individual judges gave their image. But that's it. That's the feedback you get. Alex, on the other hand, was talking about the rules applying to photographers, and should photographers ignore those rules and then just photograph by their gut. And again, I agree. But what both of these gentlemen forgot was knowledge. They are both highly credentialed, highly experienced, highly successful photographers. But they've forgotten that most photographers, particularly camera club photographers, don't have that knowledge. Take Peter with the idea of entering the competitions. If, let's say, you get a rejection, you then need to have the skills to be able to analyze those images of what was the strong points of the image and what was the weak points. Where can you improve? This requires quite in-depth knowledge. When I was going through university doing my tertiary studies in photography, the lecturers would all say, you want to improve your images, go and look at as many masters as you can. This was actually poor communication. What they meant was go and analyze the master's images. And having analysed them, you could then understand how they made their images, or their good images. And so you could then replicate that idea. Most camera club photographers struggle with the idea of composition, struggle with the idea of being able to understand even something as basic as the rule of thirds, let alone the advanced compositional ideas of the Fibonacci spiral, or harmonization of the colors, or your color theory. They don't have that knowledge. Many of them even struggle with the idea of getting their camera off automatic. So they don't have the knowledge to be able to analyze their images easily. With Alex and his idea that photographers should be photographing using their gut, in other words, photographing subjectively. And when we have discussions about art, we often talk about that art is very subjective. And again, 100% agree. What encourages you as a photographer to point your camera at something and press that shutter button is subjective. It is based on your likes and your dislikes, your own personal biases. And this is something we need to understand as photographic judges. Because when you look at Alex's idea, it really agrees with Picasso, who said that you need to learn the rules like a pro so you can break them like an artist. In other words, he was talking about breaking and creating images subjectively. And this is something that we really need to do. And I've spoken in the past about the differences between photographers and photographic judges. And this, I think, highlights one of the main differences. Photographers can photograph and create images that are subjective and important to them. Photographic judges, on the other hand, should not be judging subjectively, because to do so introduces the judge's personal bias. We as judges should not be talking about, oh, I like this image, or I don't like this image, or I like this about the image, or I don't like that, or this is the way I would do it. It's not about you as the photographic judge. It is about the image and what the artist or the photographer was trying to create when they took that or created that image. So it should never be about the subjectivity of what you bring to the judging process. It should be all about the photographer and the image that they have created. Sadly, however, we do see a lot of photographers think that, oh yes, it's just the same as judging your image. You only need to be an experienced photographer. And many judges, sadly, think the same thing. I've seen some terrible judging experience and some terrible judges who talk about, this is what I would do if I was taking this image. Or this is what you need to improve so that I like your image. No, it's not about you liking the image or not. It's about, what does the photographer like? And how can you, as the judge, help that photographer to improve their image? As I said, we often see judges judging subjectively. And if you look at international statistics on open competitions, you'll find that most open competitions, the most awarded genre, is portraits, despite the fact that they are not the most numerous genre. So you need to understand that this is caused by bias. We as humans have bias, where it's called the facial fusiform area, where we look for human faces or human beings within images. That's why humans carry the greatest visual weight, and why many judges want to look at the subject's face and see their eyes. A lot of judges do not like Röntgenfigure, which is where you've got the back of the model's head and you're encouraged to put yourself in their place. It was a style of portraiture that was really raised to a great height in the 1800s by Caspar Friedrichs in painting. So it's something we as judges need to be aware of, our own biases and what makes us like or dislike our own photography and how we're going to do it. And we need to separate that so that we're judging other photographers' images subjectively, not as we would take them, or not our own personal likes and dislikes, but what can we see in an image based upon the artistic deconstruction of an image. So when we look at lines, shapes, textures, patterns, the Gestalt theories and all that sort of thing is what we should be applying to an image to understand how the photographer has put together that image, and how can we use that knowledge to help improve the photographer's skill level. So we need to understand this within ourselves, but sadly many judges don't want to go to that further extent of understanding photography at a much deeper depth than a mere like or dislike. So this is something we need to consider as a photographer. So if you've got any value from tonight's or from today's recording, please hit the subscribe button and leave comments below. I try to read all the comments that are occurring. So until next time, keep snapping.